to tonight's episode of Beyond Focus TV. I'm your host, Lydia Patel, and as always, we have a very special guest for you. We got two guests actually here in the hot seat. If you're familiar with Brooklyn's big TV show, Money and Violence, we got the cast right here, so stay with us. You're watching Beyond Focus TV. Beyond Focus TV allows you to discuss contemporary topics affecting the Caribbean people on both a national and local level. The show features informed guests who offer insight, debate, and evaluate various issues. Beyond Focus TV builds on the station's mission to provide useful information to the Caribbean people in New York and abroad. Beyond Focus TV, where our viewing audience can get educated, informed, and empowered. Welcome back. You're watching Beyond Focus TV. I'm Lydia Patel, sitting down here with the cast of Money and Violence. That's what I'm talking about. It's all about money and violence right now. Taking Brooklyn by storm, taking the city over. And I got two of the main cast members right here. Well, I'll let y'all introduce yourselves.
Well, I'm Moses, and I play the character Rafe on Money and Violence. I'm also the director and writer of the show.
Great. I'm glad to have you on here.
I'm Ray. I play Miz in Money and Violence.
Great. So let's talk about, for those who don't know about the show, because, of course, you know, it is web-based for now. For now. It's still web-based, but you managed to get so much success of it and created such a buzz. But for those who don't know, why don't you tell us about the show and how it got started?
Okay, well, Money and Violence is what I like to call an authentic depiction of the urban jungle, you know, a side of Brooklyn that with everything that's been going on with gentrification that people sort of have forgotten about.
Absolutely.
So it's a storyline that we put together just to depict, you know, the going-ons in Brooklyn, and it's a show that we started with no experience whatsoever. We've never acted, I've never directed, I've never edited, but it's an idea that I came up with. Went to some of my partners and ran it by them. They said, let's go, and here we are.
Miz, what's your take on it, on what the show really means to you?
What the show means to me? It means Brooklyn. It means growth. It means understanding. Yeah.
And that really is, you do see the growth, because you guys took it back to a part of Brooklyn, which, and there are still, that still exists. It's not completely, it's not, Brooklyn is not now like this whole rainbow and butterflies that people try to paint it to be, because certain things still do exist. The hood is still the hood.
I mean, but you have to understand that the show within itself is supposed to be a more intimate look and a peek at, you know, these group of people that society labels the bad guy. So although these people might need to operate and act as animals to survive in this jungle, it shows you the more humanistic side of them, to show you that, yeah, the news tells you the what, but it doesn't really give you the why.
Exactly, and that's definitely true. So with no formal training, how's the experience been for you? This is your first time really acting, so to speak. So how's that experience been for you?
It's weird. In a certain way, it's weird, but then it's not. Because the character that I'm playing, I know the person, but then it's just weird because after a while, I start forgetting my real name. People just call me Miz. Like, I'm Ray.
And tell us about the character. For those, like I said, for those who don't know, tell us about Miz and his role on the show.
I mean, my character, he basically a person. He moves on morals and principle, and he's a loyal person. It's just he basically, his word is his word. He doesn't give you a reason to disrespect him, but if you disrespect him, he feels like he can do whatever he wants to do to you. And people think my character is crazy, but no.
Of course not.
He just who he is. I mean, a principle.
Absolutely. Rafe. And now I'm getting into that calling you Rafe, because I'm sure you walking down the street, everyone's now calling you Rafe.
Everyone calls me Rafe.
And that's, like Miz was saying, becomes your name almost. Describe Rafe's character.
Rafe is a veteran of these Brooklyn streets. He's a survivalist. He's someone that totally detaches who he is from the role that he plays. You know, because Rafe pulls robberies and he does a lot of things that some people would look at as, you know, a little extreme. But it's basically a means to an end for him. It's survival. It's how he survives. So he kind of detaches himself emotionally from all the things that he does. And he's very wise, but at the same time he's very lost because he's so used to doing what he does, and he's not really trying to find a way out.
That's interesting for you to say that he's not trying to find a way out. So it's just survival. He's just continuing with that. Why did you decide to build the character in that way?
I wanted these characters to be very reality based. And the truth is, a lot of people are content with being discontent. And they never get sick and tired of being sick and tired. If you watch the show, you'll come to realize that all of the characters on the show are pretty much miserable. You know, nobody's happy. And the reason I did it like that is because me, myself, growing up in these streets, I've come to realize that we never really have happy moments. We've just had moments that distracted us from our pain.
And that's interesting.
Yeah, but there's never really been happiness. Because what it is, you're constantly chasing the dollar. And you get the dollar today, but the pressure of tomorrow is
it's still there.
Hanging there. How am I going to eat tomorrow?
And when you get that dollar, it's like instant gratification. You're happy that you got it, but then fast as it...
But how long does it last? Exactly, because especially with the way that they live, you know, they do robberies. So if they do robberies, they're getting lump sums of money, but there is no income.
It's not a 9 to 5 way.
It's not a job.
Every Friday, you're going to get a paycheck. You have to do what you have to do to survive.
Absolutely. You know, and looking at that and trying to put it together, it definitely could be a strain because you're never really going to have that happiness all the time. You're always watching your back. What do you think of these shows, Empire, Power? They kind of glamorize it in a different way. And I'm going to ask you. I want to hear a different take on it.
I watch Power, and I actually liked Power. But my thing is, how many people can really relate to that? How many people are millionaire drug dealers? You know, and that was, to me those shows are fantasy.
Yeah.
You know, it's something like Empire. I don't think it's a bad show, but there's a lot of things about it that I'm not too crazy about.
And even with that, with Empire, they have so many different, they try to go out the box, include a gay character, they put in certain things, and again, how realistic.
Yeah, I was just about to say, that's not reality.
What I think about Power, I like Power. Like, I will watch Power for entertainment reasons. Empire, I didn't really get into it, but I only saw one episode, and to me, it looked like a joke.
It is more entertainment based. You could watch that, but I completely agree. You don't really see the realness. They haven't captured the realness that is captured in Money and Violence.
Yeah, because when we did the Money and Violence project, it was something that I wanted to be I wanted it to be more than entertainment. You know, I didn't want this to be, I wanted it to be looked at as art, because that's what art is. Art is, art is mimicking life, but to put it into another form.
Right.
So that's what I wanted Money and Violence to be. I wanted it to be art. I wanted it to be artistic. So therefore, that's the reason why I chose to tell the story from the perspective of pain rather than joy.
Absolutely. Well, hold that thought. We'll be right back. We'll take a quick break. Sitting down here with Money and Violence. Don't go anywhere.
Hi, my name is Stephanie Miles, and I am Miss Caribbean United States 2013, and you're watching Beyond Focus TV.
Welcome back. You're watching Beyond Focus TV. I'm Lydia Patel, sitting here with the cast members of Money and Violence. Definitely a hot show right now. How do you guys feel with everything that's been going on? You know, you debuted this just about 8-9 months ago, really. It's still relatively new. It's been picking up a buzz. What's your reaction to all of this now that it's actually unfolding and happening?
It's funny because at the beginning, we never thought this far. But as I sit back and I think back, the way that we did this and everything that we strategically did, this was all planned. The reactions that we're getting, the scenes, the episodes that people are so attracted to, were all planned. And when we were shooting, there were times, you know, and I would tell them, like, you know, the scene that we're doing, this is what's going to end up on Instagram.
Yeah, I could not to cut them off, but I could recall about 2 scenes for sure The first scene when I shot at one of the guy when I was walking down the street with the young lady,
Mm-hmm.
and the other scene with Mister with the piggyback ride. He called it. He like, watch, this what they gonna do. I'm telling you. And
Right.
That's exactly what happened.
You just know the essence of it would get captured.
It's I kind of know how to draw people in emotionally, and I know what's going to draw them in emotionally. And when this project was being done, you have to understand that we wanted it to be so much more than just another hood film. And we sat there and we did our own little focus group, and it was like, what makes a classic? And then we came up with quotable lines, we came up with epic scenes, true depictions of life, things that people have never seen on screen before. So we knew what the bar was, and plus we knew where we were weak. We knew that we were weak in production. So I knew that in order to balance that out, I had to be as strong as possible in storyline and dialogue. So I knew the bar that I was shooting for, and I just made sure to hit that every single time.
I have to agree because it's so funny because when you first started watching, especially
Yeah.
the first early episodes, you would
It's
see
hard.
like, okay, they're not shooting with the best cameras,
Yeah.
but the show is good.
Exactly.
Like you could see that it's not that super glossy
Yeah,
shine that
yeah.
it has, but we'll overlook that,
Yeah,
and the content is good.
I
And
think
it kind
the
of
ones-
worked. It kind of worked for us too.
It
in a
looked
way.
good like that, actually.
It
It
worked.
really did work. What is this experience, this whole thing, now that you wrapped up and you're still shooting, of course, but what are you taking away from this right now?
What am I taking away from this? What do you mean? In what
In terms of like
aspect?
experience, like now that
Oh.
you know, like, all right, you have definitely gained some experience. You have this under your belt. You have
Mm-hmm.
reactions now. Kind of go back to the drawing board. What do I alter? What do I want to continue?
Well, I mean, what I want to continue is as far as the depth of the story, as far as the depth of the characters, because all of the characters have so many different sides to them. There's so much depth to their personalities and who these characters are. What I want to improve on is definitely production, because I think that being that this is something that we just came out of nowhere with, this first season we were looked at as amateurs performing on a professional level. But I feel that if production doesn't step up in the second season, we're going to be looked at as professionals performing at an amateur level. So that's something that I definitely want to step up. And plus, I just feel that the viewing public has given us so much attention and so much love, with us giving them the minimal amount of production that we sort of owe them to give them the best project possible. And now that
That's
we
really
have
nice.
we have much more, at our access, that we owe them that to give them the best that we can.
Absolutely. What has this experience? What are you walking away with from season 1, going through interviews? Instagram blowing up.
What I'm walking away with is, when people say, it sounds cliche, but when people tells you anything's possible, you can do anything, that's what I'm walking away with, like literally. Like I could sit here and tell you, you could do anything you want to do, and nobody can say no.
Yeah.
Because you never know.
Yeah.
But
definitely.
before the show officially debuted on YouTube, of course,
Mhm.
how long of an idea? How old is the Money and Violence idea?
The title Money and Violence I've had for years. You have to understand that a lot of people think that it's called Money and Violence because it's guys getting money and a whole bunch of violence, but that's not what it is. All my life, it's something I've always said, that money and violence are the only two things in this world that people respect. That if you want someone's attention, you either have to show them the money, or it's the threat of violence.
Absolutely.
You understand? So I had the title in my head for years, and originally it was supposed to be a book. Then from a book, I said, let's do a feature film, and then from the feature film, it turned to the web series idea. But it was something I just woke up one morning. It was a thought in my head, and we manifested this thought into something tangible.
You definitely did. That's why I was asking, because I know people in the creative realm, we may have an idea, and before it actually debuts or is physically birthed, that idea could have been 5-10 years old already. Something that's kind of brewing in your mind.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. Now, potential deals may be on the table. What about relinquishing some of the creative control? Because
Yeah.
some people, of course, there's that misconception that if you're going to get picked up for real, they're going to have to give up some of the creative control, authenticity of the show. What can you tell the viewers about that happening?
Well, see, that is true to a degree, but what people have to understand